we're going to talk about the Trump-Epstein situation. Because when I was about to go on my 3-day break, the Wall Street Journal released new information that they had found that detailed Jeffrey Epstein's connection to Donald Trump in a more meaningful fashion. Okay? And we're going to talk about that. Donald Trump since then he wrote like this bawdy, salacious letter to Jeffrey Epstein celebrating his 50th birthday. It was very weird, but also on top of the weirdness of the Trump letter, he turned around and basically denied the entire thing and said he's suing Wall Street Journal, which is very stupid. Let's take a look.
After the Justice Department requested federal courts to release more information related to Jeffrey Epstein, this morning some Republicans say it's not enough.
I think it's a start. I don't think we're ever going to get to the bottom of anything, all of it. This town doesn't give up its secrets very easy.
The Justice Department asked to make public grand jury testimony related to the convicted sex offender. Writing in a motion, transparency to the American public is of the utmost importance to this administration. But releasing those transcripts will likely be a lengthy process that could require hearings with a judge to determine the impact on victims. Epstein's former lawyer says the information requested from the grand jury is likely only a portion of what's within the full files.
Grand jury information is narrowly tailored by prosecutors only to provide sufficient evidence to result in an indictment.
The president had hoped the move would get his supporters to turn the page, but this weekend acknowledging nothing will be good enough for the troublemakers, adding, even if the court gave its full and unwavering approval, it will always be more.
Yeah, Wall Street Journal has been booted from the White House press pool. Scoop, a Wall Street Journal reporter was slated to be a part of the travel pool this weekend when Trump travels to Scotland. After the paper's Epstein story last week, the White House booted them from the pool. This is this is the peak of like access journalism. They're just basically whipping them. They're just whipping the media into submission. But it's being done in like the stupidest way possible. It's being done for the dumbest story. Because we already knew that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were connected to one another. We already knew that. This isn't even a new revelation. So the idea that he's reacting this way to information that we kind of knew about, but just like not the additional details, makes the story even larger than before. It's very dumb. Hold on. I'm back live and going directly to a service after our toolkit was taking a beating. No more service interruptions. Okay. No, I have not gotten to the Jube video yet. There's so much happening that I haven't even been able to get to the Jube video, which I will eventually. Okay, just calm down. I got Ryan Grimm texting me about the Nelk boys being like, who the f are these guys? Concerned that people are gagged Trump is a liar after a million pics of him with Epstein and all the things he said. No, that's what's so crazy about this story is that it's such a stupid thing to get mad about because everybody knows you were pictured with Jeffrey Epstein like 45 times, dude. What do you mean? This is from the time period where you were still very much openly friendly with Jeffrey Epstein. So like there is the pre-2002 Jeffrey Epstein relationship and then the post-2002 Jeffrey Epstein relationship. And it's so strange to me that Donald Trump, who has been pictured with this guy who literally said nice things about him in the media when talking about how he loves young girls just like I do, all this stuff is now mad that there was more revelations from detailing the extent of their relationship, giving us a fuller view. National correspondent for the New York Times, Mike Baker, detailed basically what we do know so far about the Jeffrey Epstein relationship. And I'm obviously going to get into it, but it's like incredibly dumb that he's trying to sue the Wall Street Journal and claiming that claiming that he didn't actually send this message to Jeffrey Epstein for his birthday is so stupid because in the process of this coming out, we found out that Trump is, as a matter of fact, a doodler. Because he was like, I've never written pictures. Like that was his first response to it. His first response His first response to it was, I've never wrote a picture. It was a lie. It turns out he's a massive doodler. I didn't know this. And I consider myself to be somewhat of a Trump stan turned hater, you know? Okay. He actually drew quite a bit. At first, I thought I thought that it wasn't just a pure dictation and that like he probably got someone to draw a naked woman and then maybe he signed the pubes of the naked woman, which is the extent of the Wall Street Journal discovery. But like now I realize he doodles so much. He definitely doodled. He definitely doodled that picture. Like, look at him. It makes no sense. So it's just like every time he just acts like there is no relationship there, it comes out that there is more of a relationship there than we thought.
Democrats joining the calls for transparency.
So to me, as a former prosecutor, there are times when you release things for the good of the country. This is one of those times.
The president instructed the Justice Department to seek the release of the grand jury testimony just hours after a report from the Wall Street Journal alleging that he sent Epstein a letter to celebrate his 50th birthday in 2003. Trump now filing a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the paper, including owner Rupert Murdoch, saying the Journal falsely claimed that he authored, drew, and signed a letter to Epstein containing salacious language and that no authentic letter or drawing exists. Dow Jones telling ABC News, "We have full confidence in the rigor and accuracy of our reporting and will vigorously defend against any lawsuit." ABC News has not confirmed the existence of the letter. So over on Capitol Hill, there is a bipartisan push for a vote that would call on the DOJ to release the full files. But that vote would largely be symbolic. Congress has no legal authority to force the administration to release anything, but it would get Republicans on the record about where they stand on this issue. And just the fact they're even talking about this vote really underscores just how much pressure the administration is under, guys.
That's true. And people want to know about this.
A new CBS News poll shows falling support for President Trump. He now has a 42% approval rating. That is a double-digit drop since February. He has lost support on issues like immigration and the economy. His approval with Republicans still remains very high, even as he's dealing with the backlash over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case from both sides of the aisle. Weijia Jiang is at the White House. Weijia, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Nate. Good morning to everybody. At President Trump's direction, Attorney General Pam Bondi has asked a federal court to unseal grand jury documents related to that Jeffrey Epstein case. That move followed Trump becoming furious over a Wall Street Journal report that led him to suing the publication. The article at the center of President Trump's new lawsuit is about a birthday letter he allegedly sent to Jeffrey Epstein in the early 2000s that included a drawing he reportedly drew of a naked woman. Trump, who denies the report, is suing the Wall Street Journal and its owner, Rupert Murdoch. A great majority of Americans, 89%, believe the Justice Department should release all information regarding the Epstein case, according to our new CBS News poll. Democrats argue Trump's call to unseal grand jury documents does not go far enough.
Things should be released. We should know what happened here. And it is a claim that this president has made time and time again.
I'm glad that the Democrats are not spiking this. My expectation for the Democrats, as always, is to somehow find a way to mess this up. And surprisingly enough, they have at least establishment Democrat voices that are continuing to push for this. And so that's good.
And the American people have the right to know what happened.
Just over 1/3 of Americans say the Epstein case matters a lot when evaluating President Trump's presidency, and only 11% of Republicans.
This is distracting from the focus on the things that the American people voted for in 2024.
A top issue.
Yeah, in an effort for this to not muddy the discourse surrounding Donald Trump, my man has tried his very best to move on from this and basically pump as many stories as possible into the media. Part of that is culture war issues surrounding teams and what they should be named, and hyper focusing on that. I think there was the Indians back and forth going on, Coca-Cola, cane sugar, like that. Just actively trying to move the conversation away. Auto pen, Biden's auto pen, and now I guess he's released MLK assassination files. He's just trying to flood the zone. They're trying to flood the zone with as much with as much information as possible. Another thing that he's doing now is hitting the another thing that they're doing now is also like talking about Obama's involvement or whatever, trying to claim that like Barack Obama was thwarting democracy and the democratic process by trying to trying to stop Trump from being president or some shit.
Remains the economy. 70% of people say the administration is not doing enough to lower prices. 61% believe they are putting too much focus on tariffs. And 60%.
He said you're trans if you care about this. Wait, what? No. What? I saw one of the Nazi accounts, that Surf's account. That's a Nazi account, not Surf's TV, not our boys, but the other one. That's like a prominent neo-Nazi on Twitter, because that's just a thing that happens now. Trying to be like, you're actually a trans and soy if you care about the Epstein files. Yeah, the Royal Surfs. Yeah, prominent neo-Nazis on Twitter have been posting about like how if you care about the Epstein, if you want to release the Epstein client list, like that means you're gay. That means you're woke, gay, and trans. Which they think is going to be, they think this is going to be a good enough way to stop people. What? Does no one have the link I'm looking for? Yeah, oh, here it is. Lee Jelani posted about it. So anytime the admin does anything wrong, they're just going to jangle some immigrants or trans people in front of their base. Huh? Trump and his admin promised something. They went back on their promise. We want the list. Hey, guys. No. Look no further. It turns out it's trans that care about the Epstein list, and that's a bad thing as well. You're woke, gay, and trans. Of course, back then you weren't woke, gay, and trans. Epstein definitely had a client list and didn't commit suicide. 7/6/25. What changed? 2 weeks? 2 weeks, dude? So all it was for Trump to just turn around and flip the switch? That's what this is? That's what's going on? Maybe this is just him saying he's woke, trans, and gay. 2 weeks ago, he was woke, trans, and gay. Now he's straight. Donald Trump is at a 54-point swing in the 18 to 29 demographic, by the way. Trump's approval trends among ages 18 to 29. Early February, his approval rating was 55%, plus 10. Now in July, his approval rating is 44, minus 44. Do you understand? His disapproval rating shot up from 45% to 72%. It is a net 54-point negative swing. Can't wait for every dumb fuck slop tuber piece of shit that has been suckling on the teat of this administration to start quickly turning around. I'm sure that they'll start with the Epstein stuff as a reason for it, and they'll move on. Just wait. I told you all this shit was going to happen, and it's happening now. I told you. Did I not tell you that eventually when Trump starts doing his shit, that people would inevitably realize, like, maybe this is not the solution to all of their incoming problems, to all of the regular material issues that they are experiencing? No, you didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. This is literally what I kept repeating over and over again, that the pendulum would swing back as soon as people realize, like, oh, the trans stuff didn't actually fix my paycheck. The immigration stuff didn't actually fix my paycheck at all. And that maybe these guys are not actually packing up these like pedophile decapitators or whatever, and they're simply just going to the farms. They're simply just going to the farms and doing dragnets. How many times did I say that? Throughout the goddamn election cycle, too. I told you over and over again that the Democrats need to visualize what mass deportations look like, because Americans at that point, did not understand what 20 million migrants getting deported looked like. This doesn't seem to be damaging approval among Republican Party members, and they're starting to come around to the propaganda points, just not as much as usual. I saw a poll that said 50% of GOP supporters believe the admin has been adequate on Epstein. This is still really low for Trump. I know this is not like the death blow. This is not the death blow, but it's an actual major chip in his armor. Okay, the point is, none of the policies that he thinks or that he claimed were going to save America are actually going to do that. And people are going to slowly come to that recognition. Not everyone will. And plenty of people will obviously still believe, no, you don't understand. We have to support every single Mexican. Okay. And then things will get better. There is no real death blow. Okay. There isn't, because Trump is a cult-like figure. You cannot tackle a cult like this. You just have to hopefully keep hitting slowly but surely and assume that enough people have decoupled themselves from the administration and its movements, because they will slowly but surely, at least people who are cognizant enough, will slowly but surely recognize that Donald Trump was basically just lying about all of these criminal migrants. This is precisely the reason why I kept repeating the importance of the Democrats to create adequate counter messaging on the issue of immigration early on. Okay? On every single quote unquote problem that he created, he had no real solutions for, because they weren't real problems. That's how it works, is death by 1,000 cuts. It's little by little. Every other day, there is a new person that voted for Donald Trump last time around that goes, yeah, I don't know if this is actually real. I don't know if this was a good thing that I did. Going back on their votes. Okay? That's how it's done. And I said this over and over again. And I also said this about Israel too. And look where we're at with Israel. Uncompromising in the face of clear injustice was the appropriate thing to do. Every cult ends one way. It's never from the outside. I mean, it doesn't matter. Despite realizing that voting for Trump did not solve the problems they were going through by deporting and attacking queer people's rights, it doesn't change the fact that these people are not and can't be allies against Republicans and overall establishment. These people are still racist, homophobic, transphobic, and so on. No, it doesn't matter, because as long as they're not fucking voting for Donald Trump, and as long as you have real leaders on the opposing side, which we unfortunately currently do not, then you can move America in the right direction. Because it's not just about cutting Trump from his audience, okay? Cutting Trump from his base of support. There also has to be a counterbalance that is leading America in the right direction. And we currently do not have that counterbalance. This is why I talk about the importance of having a real competent party that fights back against the Republican madness. Okay? Without that, we just go back to business as usual. Without that, we go back to, another marginally better Democrat that doesn't fix any of the issues, and then that creates an opportunity for even a worse Trump-style figure to come in and use populism to his advantage and to consistently diminish material necessities, material interests that Americans have. That's how we got the Trump 1. That's how we got the Trump 2. That's it. People make up crap about you saying don't vote for Kamala. Meanwhile, you're literally saying people who don't vote for Trump can be allies, literally carrying what is left of non-Republicans. No, I don't. I want real change. I don't care who brings it, okay? I want real change in the positive direction. Why is it so hard for people to understand that a vote is an agreement? If you vote for the progressive candidate and you're being progressive, even if you're not always the most progressive in your personal life. I'm not saying these guys who are cutting off their ties with Donald Trump are going to fucking magically turn around and be like pro-trans advocates overnight. Okay, that's not going to happen. It's going to take quite a long time for a lot of people to understand that getting mad at trans people is simply a distraction. That's it. That's all it is. It is a very effective tool that the right uses all the goddamn time. And unfortunately, when there's nothing on the counter messaging side that says, hey, this is a simple distraction. Trans people are just like your neighbors. They're just like you, okay? They have the same exact needs. Like, they're not magical, mystical beings, okay? They still have to fucking pay rent. They still have to go work at McDonald's. They still hate their boss, okay? When grocery prices go up, they also suffer, just like you do. And any conversation that chooses to separate them from you is stupid. And it's being used as a simple distraction to make you hyper-focus on these people, to make you feel like they're weird, they're different, they're degenerate, they're destroying American civilization. Meanwhile, the people that are telling you that they're destroying American society is the people most responsible for destroying American society. And they don't want you to pay attention to that. How many times have you heard a Democrat say this? There are some examples that I can point to, but how many times has a Democrat come out and been like, guys, this is fucking ridiculous? What the fuck is a trans swimmer in a high school swim meet done to you? Why do you fucking care about that? There are very few Democrats who just who will actively defend marginalized populations and will say actively defend marginalized populations and will say like the only reason why you care about this kind of stuff is because these guys don't want to actually enact any sort of positive change. They recognize that you're angry. They recognize that you're angry because of the affordability crisis, as Trump, kept repeating over and over again. Okay. But the reason why they're hyper-focusing on trans people or undocumented migrants is because they want to distract your attention away from the real issues that persist in your life. They do not care. They do not want to solve any of the problems. They do not want to solve the affordability crisis. So they just keep shifting your attention and your priorities away to groups that are not responsible for the affordability crisis at all. No, they are truly bigoted. Bigotry is not an intractable position. It's not an unchangeable, unyielding position, okay? Everyone is bigoted one way or another. It's fucking entirely stupid to be like, no, they're just bigoted. Who gives a shit? So is your dad. So are you, I'm assuming, in certain instances. You have to be more understanding of people, okay? It's learned behavior. What are we talking about? I guess I should just like shutter this operation, What do you mean? Why am I doing what I'm doing? If, it's impossible to make people change their minds on issues.
Oppose new tariffs on imported goods. On Face the Nation, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick insisted the public would come around.
The president figured out the right answer and sent letters to these countries, said this is going to fix the trade deficit. This will go a long way to fixing the trade deficit. And that's gotten these countries to the table.
President Trump has sent dozens of letters to U.S. trading partners out.
Let me spell it out for you. It is mental complacency and ignorance. Yes, a lot of people have it, but aren't negative and self-righteous about it. Okay. So?
Lighting tariffs they will have to start paying on August 1st, now less than 2 weeks away. As for that Wall Street Journal fight, the publisher says they have full confidence in the rigor and accuracy of their reporting and will vigorously defend against any lawsuit.